Okay, okay, we are live.
I don't know how to work WhatsApp.
A text her.
What's your phone number?
Do you have this input in your laptop? No?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I do. Yeah, no, I don't. Oh yeah, I've heard so much about you. So, if I had a girl, her name is going to be Lauren. Yes, her name is going to be Lauren. This is not nice. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So we're gonna sit over on this side. Yep, I got it. You're gonna say hi to this. You're just hanging out right now. Are you gonna be able to like handle on your phone?
Shoot it, right? Yeah. Joy, give me a portable charger.
I have an extension cord. No. That's great. We have an extension cord.
Does it have enough charge? Yeah, I need the whole thing.
Oh gosh.
It's got charge, right?
Yeah, and it does not use this because sometimes this will be shaky. So
But does this have like?
yeah.
Okay, it does. Okay, cool.
It says you can only do it on mobile devices.
I mean, you need to be live, right?
It says it's currently only available on mobile devices. Hi, welcome. How are you? We're good. We don't need to scan or anything, but thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Help yourself. I'm sending it out. So.
Wait, but you can join the live stream through the phone if you want.
Yeah, but if they're on their computer, they can't.
Oh shit.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, really sorry.
No, all good. We'll figure it out. It's totally fine. Don't worry. All the going
So we don't have a switch. Next, do you want me to?
Yeah.
Do you want me to shoot only the panelists, or do you want me to show the audience as well?
These are just the panels. That's what people are here to see.
Okay. And I sent you the link. Can you just try joining in and seeing if I can fill up this window? Just click on that link and see what happens. Like, I don't know if I sent you a link to join the stream. I sent you the one to join. Okay. Yeah. Should I add you? Maybe that we can.
As long as we're full of people. What, through the door, Rod? We only use one camera to it's recording both. It's recording from the switcher. It's recording an ISO of the program feed. Each camera. Oh, we can turn it off. It'll record black. We switch out the battery. I want to change cameras. Oh, yeah, that'll be.
Oh, because everyone else. Yeah. CEO of this organization, and we're so thrilled to be here today. So, Dr. Andrade, who's a big friend of ESWO and also a medical advisor on our board of directors, suggested that we get people together and watch this film. So it's about families that are coping with and exploring options for intractable epilepsy. So we're going to watch it together, and then we're going to open it up to the panel, and I'll let everyone introduce themselves so that you can ask them some questions. So thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry about the heat. We can't get it turned down, but we'll get started.
It's going. Nice. And then move the mouse. The mouse. The mouse is on
My name is Heather Begg. This is my husband, Michael Begg. We've been married for 21 years. We live in Kitimat, BC, which is in northern British Columbia. And in 2015, we were blessed with our beautiful daughter, Callista.
Oh, so excited. Beyond words, really. Then came responsibility, lots of responsibility. I was just elated.
Everything was fine at the beginning, but within a few hours, we noticed something wasn't quite right with her. They found out that her oxygen levels were very low, her blood sugar was very low, her temperature was low. And so from that moment on, things started to go down. It was a big whirlwind of getting us out of Kitimat so that they could properly take care of her. And it was very touch and go. She was pretty fragile with organ failure, and they figured she had suffered a brain injury. So lack of blood flow and lack of oxygen to the brain, which resulted in a diffuse brain injury. From there was scarring in her brain. And so we knew from a couple days in that she was going to have some challenges. But of course, nobody knows exactly what that is. Her seizures would be like every few months, and then it was every couple weeks, and it was every week, and then it started to be like every day. And it was pretty difficult. We were coming to the point where we didn't have many options besides trying different combinations of medicines. Cadence was 3.5. She was great. She was already starting to rollerblade. She was counting to 20 almost. She knew her shapes and her colors and knew some words from books. She was just a typical 3.5-year-old girl. I didn't think it was a seizure. I thought she had choked because I found her laying in that puddle of vomit. And I grabbed her and ran into the living room and called 911. And when the ambulance got there, they said that she's having a seizure and they couldn't get it to stop. So it started off with that one seizure up to 30 grand mal seizures a day. And in that process, she lost everything. She didn't know me anymore. Sorry. She couldn't walk. She couldn't talk. She was back in diapers. And I just felt like I lost my little girl, and I didn't know if I was going to bring her home. So I was scared. I was very scared. And I was angry. And I thought, what did she do to deserve this? Why is she being punished? And why am I being punished to watch her? And I had to change my frame of thought, right? Like, you have to be a mom and you have to be strong for your child. God gave me Cadence, especially because he knew I could do it and help her. And there's a lot of people praying for Cadence.
Callie's dad and I met in 2001. We were together for 3 years before we had Callie. Callie was the joy in our lives. Callie got sick and she was like really tired, and I brought her into my bed to sleep with us, to come and nap with us. And then she was sleeping on her tummy And all of a sudden, her jaw started going like that. I called my mom and I said, what should I do? You take her to emergency right now. And they took her immediately. They finally hooked her up to the EEG, and then they were able to monitor. And then she had another 25-minute seizure. They discovered that it was the herpes simplex virus. And had they not treated it on day 1 like they did, day 5 would have been fatal. So that was a real shocker for us. She lost all mobility. Her whole left side was paralyzed. She had to learn how to walk again, even to talk. She was a new person after that. The vibrant, sassy Kelly I knew was gone forever. Or so I thought.
So Sophie's the eldest of our 3 children. Sophie was 8 when she had her first seizure. It was on Halloween in Sydney. But we don't have any history of epilepsy in our family. They treated her for viral meningitis instead. It took a year for them to diagnose epilepsy for Soph, because when she first presented, we nearly lost her. So when she crashes quickly, and then she's often required life support, and she's been ventilated, or she's been in a coma. Her seizures last for hours, and it takes days and weeks to recover. So it's unrelenting. When Sophie had a very large catastrophic seizure here and was on life support, and it was very frightening, we went, right, it's gloves off. It's time to start getting seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths opinions. Is there a possibility that she's a surgical candidate? So it's a tunnel through the gates of hell. It's kind of where I call it. Other people call it journey. but the gates of hell is probably a better description. Yeah.
Epilepsy is quite common. There's about 600,000 children in North America with epilepsy. About a third of those have what's called drug-resistant epilepsy, meaning despite adequate trials of a drug to treat epilepsy, an anticonvulsant, they're still having seizures. And so we call that DRE, drug-resistant epilepsy. A subset of those children will be candidates for some form of what's known as epilepsy surgery. And in its kind of oldest and perhaps crudest form, that involves taking out that part of the brain that is causing the seizures, the focus of epilepsy. And so epilepsy surgery has been around for quite a while. There are some children who we don't find a focus of their epilepsy, and so we don't know where the seizures are coming from, or we know they're coming from different parts of the brain. And so just removing one part of that brain isn't going to help. And that's where the development of neurotechnologies has played a role. The oldest of which is something called vagal nerve stimulation, where an electrode is placed along the vagus nerve in the neck and then hooked up to a generator that stimulates that nerve. And by mechanisms that are still relatively unclear, can bring about a reduction in both the frequency and intensity of seizures.
I was like, surgery, okay, but what are the risks? What are we looking at? And benefits far outweigh risks. Here, make a pocket, insert this device, and run wires up to your vagus nerve in your neck, and it's quite just a regular vein. I'm gonna make a slip. And I was like, you're gonna do what? Like, I was really nervous, but I thought, hey, these are professionals. This is what they do. They just trusted that everything would be fine. The surgery was actually quite easy. We brought her to the hospital. It was a day surgery. She went in, and recovered fine. Later that day, we were off to the park type thing. 2015, she had the VNS implant. That worked really well for a few years until she hit puberty. It just gradually started getting worse and worse again, to the point where she'd just get up to walk and she'd fall. It's really hard, but at that point, I finally got the call that she was going to have her surgery for the deep brain stimulator.
Deep brain stimulation is a technology that we have at our disposal to implant electrodes in the center of the brain, in a part of the brain called the thalamus, and to deliver very precise electrical stimulation to that part of the brain. And when we do that, we essentially render the brain less likely to generate seizures.
And there are other techniques that are refining the more receptive procedures that we do. Many centers, including here in Vancouver, are using what's called robot-assisted stereo EEG, where small electrodes are implanted in different parts of the brain. And then over a period of days or sometimes even weeks, we record seizures in that shot. And that allows us to create a 3D map of where the seizures are coming from and help guide surgery to remove the focus.
They did the sterile EEG surgery June 9th, monitored her for 5 days, and then they did the brain surgery 2 days later. The same team that did the sterile EEG was the same team that did her brain surgery.
There's a relatively new technique called responsive neurostimulation. That's what we call a closed loop system. So it has the ability of both recording a seizure and when a seizure starts, stimulating a part of the brain in the hopes of stopping that seizure. I think Sophie was probably one of the first, if not the first, patient in Canada to get RNS.
I think she was, yes, yeah.
You did say it was an easy decision to make. Why was it easy? In something that still, although it has been studied, there's not a track record of long-term effects of it. How did you balance that in making a decision to go ahead with a therapy that hadn't been done in Canada?
When you're running out of options, you can only do so many visits to the intensive care unit. So yes, it is still relatively new, but the 10-year history gave us enough confidence, and you have every confidence in this team. And, you know, it's like, yes, let's do this.
As we think about kind of research that we're doing under this large grant from the National Institutes of Health, the initiative called Brain 2.0 is really brought up by some of the results that we've had so far. Bringing the values and the priorities of stakeholders, so patient stakeholders, family stakeholders, to the table. What researchers and clinicians think might be best for patients is also informed by what the patients themselves and their families want. So what are their values? What are their priorities? What are their perspectives? So it's a giant jigsaw puzzle, and we're trying to bring all the pieces to the table.
I had a little bit more fear, let's say, about, is this thing going to work? Is it the best of the best? Like, who developed it? Where did it come from? What does it do? What kind of stuff is inside of it? Like, how does it work? How does it know? How does it sense things?
We knew very little beforehand, but we had questions. Would anyone see it? Would Sophie be sort of stand out? Would anyone notice that she had it in the brain? So there was questions about sort of, would she be different? We didn't understand the technology until post-surgery. Then we got to learn all the technicalities of it and how it works.
I asked so many questions about the sterile EEG. I thought it was a human that did it. It's a human that controls the machine, but it's actually a robot that does the actual surgery and the insertion. So that amazed me. I weighed all the options. I went to the library. I didn't actually look up surgery because I didn't want to know what was happening. I read about it, but I didn't look up pictures or videos because I just thought, I don't want that vision in my head of what's happening to my girl. I just want to make sure that she's going to wake up. I believe in modern medicine. I believe in technology. Without technology today, humans would survive like they can. Callie would be dead a long time ago if it weren't for technology today.
After I met with Dr. Ibrahim and Sarah, the nurse, they sent me information via email, and that scared me. That scared me a lot. Because there's pictures in there of the device they put on them. It's a picture you get in your mind of your child. And anything to do with the brain, I was scared. What if she has a seizure and they're doing something and something gets hit? Like, all these things cross your mind, of course. And my son too, my oldest son was like, don't do it, mommy. But I'm her mom. So I think it affects me a little bit differently. They're going to be hard. It's going to be something good for your child. Their life normally. Look at me. I wasn't going to waver from her having the surgery. Dr. until a minute before surgery, I can cancel. I would never do that. If it's something that's going to help Cadence, I'm going to do it.
When you're considering a child to implant with these devices, we obviously want to implant one that would work the best for the individual child. But we also, if we're not sure which one will work better, we want to start with the one that's least invasive. As these devices become more widely available, widely used, we're obviously going to generate a wealth of information about how they should be used and in whom these technologies should be applied. The future of neurotechnologies will certainly have a lot more evidence that we can use to guide decisions around individual patients. And I hope that that will also address some of the ethical issues surrounding these technologies.
Treated Sophie. Sophie was, if she if you don't take the time to sit down and talk to her about what's maybe that's not the same person.
Not working for you, then there has to be a different avenue.